Hey guys, this is Zombie Freak 21 here, and today I'm doing something a little different with this video. Now, this isn't exactly a rant, but I'm basically stating my personal opinion on this issue. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am going to talk about the topics regarding Twilight, but in this one, I'm actually talking more about the author herself, Stephanie Meyer. And of course, most of you, if you've already heard of her, she's the one who created the atrocity known as Twilight. And those who don't, I completely envy you for it. Because trust me, you do not want to get mixed in that drama. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because, you see, I was kind of pissed that society had compared her to J.K. Rowling, which she doesn't even reach to that level. And I will say this coming from a Harry Potter fan, J.K. Rowling herself was kind of pissed that they put Meyer in the same sentence, because like I said, their work is completely different. And I will get into that later, but let me go into Stephanie Meyer's writing style. The issue I have firsthand with her writing is, for one, because firsthand I did read the first two Twilight books, which I completely regret, because it's shit, people. For one, it lacks vocabulary, and it feels like I'm reading a book that's around a grade school level. Of course, there's a few swearings, but it just doesn't cut it. And basically all it talks about is, of course, Bella and Edward over and over again. For me, when I first read the first 200 pages, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I thought New Moon would be better, but I was dead wrong. The only difference with that one, she kind of talked about kind of fantasizing her best friend Jacob for a while. Again, it's atrocious. Second, the issue I have with it is the timing she had to finish it. Now, as you all know, when it comes to making a book, it takes about 2 or 3 years, or if longer, depending on the writer, to finish. Because keep in mind, I've been writing my own story, which is kind of similar to Heroes and kind of like The Walking Dead, but I'm not going to go into details because I'm keeping that as private as possible. You could say I've been working on it for almost 2 years. And that's showing that you're putting some effort in your work. In case if I know that most of you are unaware, but Stephanie Meyer's Twilight book, she finished it within 6 months. And honestly, you cannot finish a book within 6 months because Meyer fails to understand. Writing a book that's less than a year, it shows little to no effort. I take that back. It shows no effort at all. And really, it just shows that you're not into writing. You're probably only doing this for the money. As much as money how she's making compared from the films and Twilight getting its own Broadway. And this is no joke, because I found this story out from Huffington Post, which I'm going to get into that probably in another video. So really, it's no work, because J.K. Rowling, how she created the idea of Harry Potter, at first she made the story for her daughter, because back then she was super poor and was a single parent. But she made it out of enjoyment. But when someone had discovered some of her papers, they encouraged her to write more, and that's exactly what she did. Besides sharing it with her daughter, she shared it with the public. And what I like about her books is that she did some of the research. I'll post some annotations because this process is kind of long. But other than that, the main reason why Harry Potter outbeats beats Twilight is because it just shows that because Rowling she actually did the enjoyment of writing, and for her books it takes like 3 to 4 2 or 3 years to finish, and it shows effort, and that's why I enjoy the Harry Potter series so much. I know a few of you guys are not into them, but if you kind of get the chance, check it out because trust me, it's worth the read. Considering that I'm more into the fictional books. So anyway, back to Meyer. I guess the only reason why her stuff became popular because she added vampires and werewolves in it, which I don't consider these creatures vampires and werewolves at all because she completely broke the vampire werewolf tradition. That's just another thing that kind of pisses me off. And another thing, I do notice this because those a couple of my friends, they're Twilight freaks. They even admit they don't like her other book called The Host because they say it's not that good. It's just bland and boring. And it's kind of the same with Eclipse and Breaking Dawn because around that time, because even one of my friends who's super hardcore on the Twilight series, she even hated it and hated the direction. Direction is gone. And I will admit, even though I've never read Breaking Dawn, which I don't plan to anytime soon, it is kind of disturbing to see that Jacob is falling in love with a 2-year-old. How sick and twisted is that? Really, Mayer's writing really brings me into question. But you see, this is the thing. It's really a shame that literature is going down the shitter. But I will say from personal perspective, just because something's popular, that doesn't necessarily mean that the franchise is good. Because Stephanie Meyer, she probably doesn't realize this, or unless she's in denial, half the cast members aren't even fans of Twilight. Because really, they're only in it for the money. Even Robert Pattinson even admit that he does not like Edward's character. And actually, he prefers Harry Potter over Twilight. And of course, you know that Robert Pattinson was like in that small role of Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire, and of course he gets killed off. Because of course I've read the book before I've seen the film, and yeah, exactly. Because the only difference from the cast of Harry Potter, the reason why the acting is so good is simple. The cast members, they were fans of the Harry Potter books before they even end up starring in the movie. That's just what makes it so good, because they were in it for the enjoyment. And that's why, Meyer, your work lacks creativity. And it's no wonder the acting is so terrible, especially Kristen Stewart, who stares at the camera and makes them same dumbass expressions over and over again. So really, this is kind of my thoughts on this whole issue. So Meyer, if you want to write more books, please, for the love of God, take some literature classes. Because my former English teacher, who's awesome and also a badass, he writes his short stories, and trust me, they're really way better than your crap. That's all I have to say. Zombie Freak 21, and to say this, power to the people.